this computer. We are going to live stream on Facebook.
You don't really realize how great you are getting until you see yourself on screen. Maybe I should just shave everything off. And it's great because I hit the recording, so everybody can hear that.
We are good. We are recording and we are live on Facebook. I think I got everything working. There's a lot of things going on with this technology, but Ryan, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm much better. Thank you.
Good. Well, we're going to get into that. And I'm going to try to watch the live stream in case anybody else has questions and things like that. But first of all, I want to thank you for just allowing us to do this today. We are doing this to really interview you on your experience of your first flip that you just got under contract, which is a huge congratulations to you. But your story from honestly when you signed up for coaching to when you actually started investing in real estate is kind of a crazy story. So I always like starting at the beginning. So let's go from there, well, first of all, what made you want to get into real estate investing even before you even signed up with coaching?
Yeah. So, there's a lot of people that say they're like a long story short type people. Well, I'm a short story long, so I can give you kind of long-winded when I'm telling a story. So I'll try to do as quickly. But really, ever since I think I hit adulthood, I thought I'd love to have some rental properties at some point in my life, just to kind of bring in a little bit of revenue to kind of assist and add to the overall wealth for me. And then last year, 2023, I had a couple of friends that were posting an event going on called the Balanced Business Dad that you, Dustin, you and your partner run. And uh, I misread it thinking it meant the balanced professional dad. So I showed up. The only person who was not a business owner was actually working for a large company in the area, um, and felt kind of silly being there. But overall, I learned quite a bit. And then when you shared your story about your investing and your success and your coaching program, and that really anybody with a brain can do it, I thought, hey, I want to try this. So I reached out to you. We set up the initial couple of interviews and took a few months to finally pull the trigger and pursue that. Um, I don't want to jump the gun with this, but basically, I had a lot of reservations, right? Because I we had some cash saved back for emergency funds and everything, but investing personal money on something that's I had never done before was quite scary, quite intimidating, and I knew that coming brand new into everything real estate was a big venture for me to do. Um, we had a couple of things kind of pop up. We had our basement that started leaking from the laundry room, so I had to spend a couple of months focusing on that before I could really do anything else. Got that taken care of. Was going to start doing some real estate on the side up, early this year. And then I was notified of a mass layoff occurring, and I was one of the impacted. And
Mm.
so, with some quite a few phone calls, conversations with you, conversations with my wife, conversations with some close buddies, uh, some saying do it, some people saying don't do it. I decided to go ahead and do it so I could then focus. I had a pretty decent severance package, so I was able to have something coming in while pursuing this opportunity, um, and decided to jump all in and go for it. We found a good opportunity, a good deal, and so I jumped in, did a lot of the demo myself, most of it myself, and had some pretty good workouts from it doing that. So it was great. It was great.
Awesome. Well, we're definitely going to get into that house, but there's a few things I want to unpack there. I don't say this to people actually until after they do it, but the day you sign up for coaching and the day you hire a mentor is the day you become an investor because that's the day you're investing. right? And to me, that's going to be the number one investment that you can ever make. And I know you do it, I do it, but you're investing at that point because you're investing in yourself. And I've always realized the people who are truly taking that first step as an investor to hire that coach, to hire that mentor, whatever it may be, the likelihood of success they have on the back end, right, is so much bigger when they have to put in the work. And that's exactly what you did, is you put in the work. So we kind of went to the second question that I have there, but is why did you finally decide to pull the trigger? There's a lot of reservations, it sounded like. Obviously, you said that. There was people in your ear saying, don't do it. So what did make you decide to pull the trigger on the coaching and saying, yes, this is what I'm going to do for myself and my family?
It was really the first career opportunity that truly interested me, that made me feel like I could be happy and fulfilled by doing this. Uh, Previous jobs that I had in corporate America, I was just one of many that wasn't really producing anything. Like the teams were building widgets for the company and the clients, but nothing
Okay.
really tangible that I could personally see, that I could personally say, I feel like this is something that I would find valuable. Whereas
Yes.
with real estate, I see the necessity of real estate. Everybody needs a place to live. Um, and I had some analysis and project management experience through my career. And in a very simplistic world, I thought that's all it is, right? Obviously there's work, there's analysis that has to be done, and there's a huge project finding out who are the stakeholders, who are the people involved, who needs to be doing what, what's the budget, what's the timeline, and essentially that's what it was, but it was a lot more than that as well. But it was definitely a great learning experience. And again, for
Awesome.
me, the learning curve was much higher than someone who's already involved, either as an agent or a property owner. So there were some gotchas that I came up to kind of midway, but we'll be touching up on those too.
Yeah. So that, well, that's awesome. And I love that, something that interests you and something that was a passion, you were done just doing things by default and was like, hey, I'm actually going to make a stand and I'm going to go do this. So that's awesome. Always love those stories. So you did it and you actually started doing the work, which is weird. You have success when you do the work. I love that. But I mean, the modules you went through, you started talking to the agents, you started making offers, you started walking properties. Tell us about that. Like, you started walking properties as somebody who's never walked properties before. You started meeting wholesalers. I mean, my son and I were walking houses with you. Just tell us kind of what was going through your head even before you got the first project.
Sure. I have a couple agent friends, actually three of them that were gracious enough to spend time with me walking through houses for myself, potentially. They also had other clients that they had that were basically asking them to go walk these really, really cruddy homes on the MLS. But every one that I walked through, I learned more and more what to look for. Okay, the floors look okay, they can be done. Or the stack, my gosh, this is cracking, falling apart, it's leaking all over the place. That's, needs to be done. We walked through one house that it was starting to be remodeled, but like the entryway to the kitchen was falling apart. They had taken some down and realized, oh no. And I saw the beams that are on the floor, they were infested with termites. And I'm like, there's no wonder this house is only going for $42,000 right now, and that nobody's buying it for months and months and months because nobody wants to tackle a house full of termites. And again, working with wholesalers, we walked a few properties, realized that there's a little bit more there than that was advertised that needed to be done, and thought, not for the first. And then this one opportunity came up, and we walked it. It was in a good part of Florissant, and we thought this would be a very, very good beginner house to do. Rather straightforward, lots to do, but straightforward, and just plug and chug, one thing after the other.
Awesome. I love that. All right. So let's go to the next question. And I promise, guys, for everybody who's watching, ask questions. I am checking the Facebook feed, but we're going to get into the numbers and actually the nitty gritty. But I think that's a good part of this. So you bought the house. I remember the day very well, but coming over there, meeting you over there. But then, we leave and you're still in the house. What, and then you're there a lot. What was your scariest part of this whole project?
The scariest part, honestly, is the whole financial thing, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
where's this money come from? I mean, obviously, I borrowed both a majority of the purchase price and the rehab, so I
Yep.
had that at my disposal. But then it's like, okay, well, how do I start paying for these things? So I had already, based on the modules that you provided, set up my LLC, used my HELOC to start making part of the down payment that I had to do on my own, plus some of the initial expenses. I set up a couple of credit cards in the business name. Found halfway through that I should have started a business checking account from the beginning. Disclaimer, that is in Dustin's modules. So I just had information overload, and like 50 some videos, and it was a small piece that turned out to be a big piece that I overlooked. So that was
Yep.
the big gotcha. But once I figured out that was the process that I needed to follow, it made things a lot easier. And I wasn't sure really how the disbursements went.
Mm.
So, I pay essentially out of pocket, either myself or through the LLC on the credit cards for the work, but how do I get reimbursed? So, working with the disbursement company, he made it easy, easy, easy on me. I couldn't figure out without any guidance how to use their interface. So he said, just send me what you have. So I did. I sent him the completed work. I'd sent him the stack invoice, the stack lien waiver, the electrical work, the cabinets that I bought that were installed, and a long list of receipts. And he just plugged them in for me. And that first check that they issued to me was a huge relief because I was then able to use that money going forward for future bills. And another big thing, you may recall this, Dustin, is that first day you came by, I'm like, oh my gosh, where do I start? Like, I got this, and oh my gosh. And you're like, dude, stop thinking, just do. You said start with the demo, rip the baseboards off, rip the wallpaper down, take the cabinets down, clear the house out, and then tackle things one by one. And that's what
Yep.
I did, week by week, tore everything down for a couple of weeks. I had a buddy that helped me with quite a bit of it. That was really great. And then started making calls. Called the electrician. Hey, I need the panel done. I need the mask done. Called the plumber. Hey, I need a new stack. But first, the guy said, if you've got backup, then I need you to call someone else to come do a scope and the snaking. So I had another company come out. They scoped it from the roof. They said, you're actually not that bad in shape, or you're not in bad shape here. So they did the hydro flush and said everything's clear, which was great. The bill for that came out 10% of what I had feared. I thought they'd have to break up the concrete, redo all the line to the street, 8 grand plus for that, but no, it was about $800. So I was, I almost cried when it was so small. So I'm like, okay, that's great. So the stack got done, the panels got done, and then again, we started tackling paint, tackling the kitchen, just kind of room by room, piece by piece,
I
one
love it.
thing after the other.
I love it. There's a couple things that I want to point out there. Well, first, the financial aspects, so there is a way to invest in real estate. And, you always hear the saying, not your own money, or not your own money, that kind of thing. There's a way that you might use your own money for a little bit and then get reimbursed, right? Or you're using your line of credit, which technically is your money, but it's not taking food away from your family. So it's depending on how you want to use that. But I just thank you so much for saying that, because in any business, the managing of the funds and things like that can be a scary part, because next thing you know, you're running a pretty large project, or money's going out many ways. So thank you so much for mentioning that. But I do stop thinking, just do. Now there's thinking involved, but sometimes when we're at this frantic, I want to go do this, and then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. We got to stop doing that. We just have to go do something, and then all of that other stuff's just going to come to us while we're actually doing it. So love that. Those are awesome. Um, what did you learn that you did not think you would learn throughout this process?
Essentially, don't overcommit to doing things on my own that I still need help from.
Mm.
Because I did save a lot of money by doing things myself, but the outlets, could I figure them out? Yes. Would I have been doing them right? No idea. I had a buddy who's an electrical engineer by trade. He grew up with his dad doing electrical work. He works a full-time job, right? But he came out probably a half a dozen times a couple hours at a time and help me with that. And so, and then I had my dad graciously take time out of his retirement just to, he could be at home relaxing, but now, no, he's at my house now for 2 days straight for 8 hours a day, helping me do things. And he's retirement age and he wanted to go home and rest. So it taught me that while yes, it is great if you put in your own sweat equity, uh, be sure that you can do it on your own in the time that you have, and don't overcommit and stress yourself out.
Mm, love that. I love that. And we had mentioned, and I'm just going to throw you under the bus here, but when we had mentioned when we do it and when we walked through it with you, with Hard Money walked through it with you, we're like, yeah, this is an 8-week project, no problem. And I think that put a lot of pressure on you, didn't it?
Extremely, yes.
Did you finish it in that 8 weeks?
I did.
Yeah.
Absolutely did.
Yeah. Do you think if we wouldn't have said that, would you have?
Probably not. I think I would have stretched it out a little bit to more of my what I would call my comfort zone. Like, oh, if we do just, one big thing a week, we'll be okay. Uh, as opposed to, hey, dude, July, do it by the early July. And that pushed me to say, okay,
Yeah.
well, let me have two big contractors, two big companies coming in doing this, doing their work simultaneously.
Yeah.
The painter was there. He was doing his thing while other people were there doing work. Um, and I think a lot of times, me especially, I live in my own head. And
Mm-hmm.
that is probably the worst thing you can do, especially as a new investor, is just, internalize everything without actually laying forth a plan and just saying, hey, it's kind of a linear process. Of course, there's going to be some variance there. You come up with an obstacle. Let's say your contractor is not available this week. Okay, well, that could potentially knock me a week behind. Well, what can I do in the meantime to prepare for that? Or is there something else that could be done that I thought I'd be doing later on in the project as opposed to, now? So let's just go ahead and tackle that now and just, it's in the technical world, it's essentially agile, right? So you're
Yeah.
kind of always working on spurts and increments and everything. So um, if you can't get one thing done one week, move to the different one that's independent of that. Of course, there's
Love
going
that.
to be the critical path where, okay, I can't really get new toilets in if the plumbing's still backed up. I can't turn the water on if it's backed up.
Right.
Or if the penalty is redone, I'm not going to go around and just do everything else electrical without getting the main stuff done. So there are things that have to be done first, but so many things that can be done kind of in different orders that still will not essentially jeopardize the project.
Yeah. I love that. That is great. Last question, then we'll get into before and after pictures. Are you going to do it again?
Absolutely.
Love it. All
Now,
right.
if if you were to ask me during what I call my week from hell, where I was really struggling mentally with the whole thing, I would say not a chance, not a snowball's chance. But the way it turned out, what I've learned from it, um, absolutely. The curve has been conquered. I still have more to learn. I think we all have something to learn continually, but uh, I know the process now. I know the critical things to do, critical things to look for. So now it's time to find another house.
I love that. And we were on a call yesterday on one of our mastermind calls for other things. But you mentioned that yesterday on that call, and it's funny. I've quit every single time. Never doing this again. I'm never doing this again. Right. And then, of course, we always do. And we've been doing it for 7 years. So trust me, I get that feeling. So let's jump into the before pictures. Let me share my screen and figure out how I'm going to do this real quick. All right. So we're going to see what the house looked like before or the day you bought it. All right. So Ryan, can you see my screen? Because that means everybody else can as well.
Yes.
All right, cool. So as you see here, it is, I mean, it's pretty dingy. Um, did the house smell good when you got there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it smelled
Yeah.
like 18 years of like 3 packs a day cigarette smoke, a little bit of pipe tobacco, especially when you got to the basement. But yeah,
Yeah.
it smelled old and gross.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you see here, there's kind of these weird outlay things on the walls, which I remember seeing those, which was interesting. Uh, this kitchen though, it was huge. I loved how the kitchen turned out. Also, you had this wall there. So there's just some interesting things that you don't see in too many houses, and I can't wait to show everybody that there. Um, so those kitchens can always be interesting. So we'll just show through. Feel free to add any commentary while we're going through these pictures of, something that you remember.
Something that the pictures here in the hallway don't show is there was actually a laundry chute and
Mm.
a hole that somebody decided they were going to either kick or punch a hole in the wall. So that was fun to patch that up and get that covered.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once we get to the bathrooms, that was fun.
There.
But you can see most of the house is hardwood. And at
Yeah.
first we thought we were going to cover it, but we end up refinishing those and they look absolutely amazing now. Here's the
Yeah.
master bathroom, which you can see is good old 60s
Blue.
blue.
It's the favorite color of a house we buy.
And we found out that the that shower kit was basically just glued on to the existing tile that had been leaking for years. So they go, oh, let's just put a patch on it instead of actually fixing the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are surprises that no matter how much you've looked at a house, you can't see that, right? Because you're not, most of the time you're not going to be able to pull down a shower kit before you buy the house, right? So good. And then now we got a pink bathroom. So they were colorful. I love it.
I actually thought about keeping the colors, just for a good old vintage throwback, but we opted to get them glazed to white,
Well,
so it looks
I'm
a ton better now.
glad you did that. So, all right, heading down to the basement. This is probably one of my favorite transformations, but that's what the basement looked like before you got it.
It's right, dirty, dingy.
Yeah,
One of the owners in the past had actually built this really, really cruddy extra room down there.
right here,
Uh,
right?
I saw some things on the wall that suggested that they use it as a billiards room to the right there. And then
Mm.
this back room, initially, I suspected was a smoking room, and that's what I referred to it the whole time was the smoking room. But also found out that the owner's son, who had been in an accident at some point, decided to live in there and was just absolutely disgusting. Drinking every day, smoking, couldn't make it up to the bathroom, so let's just use a corner instead. And yeah,
Wow.
that room was a challenge.
Yeah.
I called it
Yeah.
also the creme brulee because if you've ever seen the creme brulee dessert, you'll see, it's like a caramelized custard, and the
Yeah.
walls resembled caramelized custard.
That's funny. Utility
Dark,
room.
dingy, gross laundry room. I mean, the floor was absolutely just disgusting. But I got a good pressure wash in there, and I actually was walking in there barefoot at the end, which is something that I never thought I would do.
And look at that. That's my favorite picture of them all. All right. So we saw the before. Now let's go to the after. First of all, that just the front of it, which I don't think we had a before picture of the front. That the curb appeal you did there was phenomenal. And it's very simple, right? You don't have to do so much, but it just looks great. The simplicity there, I absolutely love. Of course, you stage, but man, look at the difference there. It's just absolutely awesome.
Yep. Took down those awkward partitions and
Yep.
patched the ceilings and just opened the room up even more. I initially had hoped to build some kind of like serving window between the
Mm-hmm.
kitchen and the main room. But honestly, like you said, let's just see where the budget is at the end. And
Yep.
and budgets are very important to follow. And so I decided to go ahead and keep the wall there.
Yes, I always joke we're not running a government budget, meaning when we're out of money, we don't have any more, right? So the kitchen, I love. The kitchen is just absolutely massive, and you still have some good countertop space there. Those new cabinets, countertop. I mean, it just looks awesome. Looks really great. Flooring in there looks good as well. Staged really nice. That's the master, right?
It is, yes.
Yep. Yep. No more blue.
There's the master bath. Look at that tile.
Mhm.
Look at the
Yeah.
difference.
Love that. Some of the non-stage rooms. There's the hall bath. Looks so much better. But look at that basement. I mean, that's a showstopper right there. I love that. So that is awesome.
Here's
So
our
that's the
smoking room.
smoker's room. Yeah, back to there. That's the smoking room. Looks a little different. Smells a little different.
It does.
There's that utility room, which is nice and clean. Again, the outside shots. Awesome. So we'll stop sharing and go back to you. So let's talk about the numbers. So what did we purchase this house for? Or you
Purchased it for once, yeah, 116.5.
Okay. And what was it listed at? And this was from a wholesaler, right?
I think it was initially listed at like 125. But
Wow.
when talking with the wholesaler, they're like, you know what? The lowest we, because I think I offered them like 105. They said the lowest we can really do is 116.
Okay.
And I said, okay, Dustin, you and I were talking about it. You're like, I still think it's a great deal. So I said, okay, let's do it. So got it for 116.5. We estimated about 40K in rehab. And with that extra 10% built in, that's essentially what we got. So right at the $44,000 rehab on the whole
So
house.
your very first rehab, you budgeted 40 and you went at 44,000.
Yes.
I don't know how many rehabbers are listening to that, and I don't think you realize how good of an estimate that is. Right? That's phenomenal. That is awesome. So all right, so I don't have a calculator. So we bought it for 116.5 and we put 44 into it, right?
Yes.
Now, of course, there's other costs and staging and agents and things like that, but what is another contract for?
It's under contract for 210.
210,000. Well, first of all, what'd you list it as? Let's start there.
We listed it at we used the ARV of 195 for
Yep.
all the projections and whatnot. We listed it at 195. Within 2 days, I had two offers that were competing. They both started out at 200, and they were working each other up by 1,000 each time. One of the buyers had a cap ceiling of 210. We were only 3,000 away from that because it was standing at 207. And so we worked with the other agent and said, hey, if they're willing to do the 210, we'll agree to it tonight. And that was done Saturday. So
I
three
love
days
it.
on market before
I love
contract.
it. And 15,000 over what you thought it was going to sell at, or what you had listed at. That's a phenomenal day. Anytime you go over ask, right? That's a good day. So projected profit on your very first flip.
We're sitting at a little over 40,000 right now.
$40,000. That's a pretty good day, isn't it?
That's a good day.
See, so I give Ryan so much trouble because when I have good days, I'm a little bit more excited. But that's all right. We just know that's Ryan's personality. He called himself stoic the other day. So true. But that's awesome, right? Your very first one, you're at $40,000. You went from this guy working for corporate America to this guy, let's be honest, being screwed over by corporate America, right? They'll drop you like very, very quickly to doing something for yourself and making a pretty good living at it.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So in closing words, for people who have never done this, want to do this, or people who are doing it, what kind of advice would you have for anybody that wants to get into this wonderful world of real estate investing?
Find a coach. Find somebody who knows what to do, how to do it, what the process is. They can walk you through things. They won't necessarily always hold your hand with every little thing. But I mean, this call it spade a spade. We're all adults, right? We have not come this far in life, hopefully, and decided to try real estate without being able to apply our own expertise and our experience to do something. So find a coach, identify what it is you want to do, set a plan forth, get a real budget, or get a budget down, get an idea of what you want to spend, what you can spend. Find lenders that are willing to work with you, and stop thinking, just do.
Oh, mic
Right.
drop. Stop thinking,
I
just do.
and I found the days that I was struggling the most were when I was just walking around panicking, thinking, what am I going to do? I got this. And when I was actually doing something, it doesn't matter what I'm doing something, took my mind off of the panic, the worry, and was focused on this, get this task accomplished. Create a checklist daily. What do you have to do today? Well, I've got this, and this. Okay, let's tackle it. Get this done, move on to the next. Get that done, move on to the next. What do we have tomorrow? Same thing. Who do I need to contact? Contact them. Get bids. Something that
Yeah.
I was initially trying to do was I met a couple of contractors, and my heart was set. Yes, I want to work with these guys. It didn't work out that way, so I had to find others. And you know, there's a lot of people out here doing all kinds of things in real estate. You've got investors, you've got lenders, you've got contractors. There is a wide variety of people that can help. Just have to network, find them, and you'll be good.
I love it. Again, thank you so much, Ryan. I just wanted to share this story because I mean, I saw the whole thing and I was still inspired the whole time because it's someone who just takes action. You know, I forget sometimes, and I'll be honest with that. I forget sometimes the courage that it takes to go from because never doing this before and jumping in where it's kind of my livelihood right now, right? And that is awesome, and you did it, and I am so excited for you guys. So that is awesome. Appreciate the time today, and if anybody has any questions, you'll just reach out. I see a couple of posts there. You can always private message me. You know, we're always here to help. So Ryan, again, thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thank you, sir. Take care, guys.
All right, thanks.
All right, bye bye.